Today's recipe is chicken and pork stuffed poblano peppers. Start off with roasted poblano peppers, ground chicken, ground pork, minced garlic, diced onions, cream cheese, roasted veggies, jack cheese, chili powder, and garlic, salt, and pepper.
So I've started cooking the ground chicken and ground pork with the crushed garlic. And I added a pinch of my garlic, salt, and pepper here, only because you always want to season in layers. And as this is cooking, I'm actually going to add my chili powder and my onions. So let me put the onions in and let those start sweating. And then the chili powder, I'm just going to sprinkle, maybe. I think I need to do something with it. Now it's fixed. And I'm just going to put in, I don't know, that's probably almost a good tablespoonful, because I want that chili powder kick. And I am just going to cook this up until everything is completely cooked through and the onions are almost translucent, whichever happens well. We've got to get the chicken and the pork cooked up together. You can always do just chicken or just pork. One of the things that I am really big on is I like to keep food in the freezer so that it's ready to go whenever I am. And a lot of times, to be budget friendly, if you see chicken or pork or meat that has been discounted a little bit, look at the expiration date or the sell-by date. And as long as the sell-by date has not passed, you gotta check that from the current date, you can bring it home, put it right in the freezer, and it's perfectly good. There's nothing wrong with it. But that means, you have to be that kind of a shopper where you're going to go and take a look for sales and have room in your freezer. And that's just kind of the way I was raised. We always, we did our shopping basically once a month. And so that fresh meat doesn't keep for a whole month, so you'd have to put things in the freezer. So anyway, I'm going to get my next step prepared while this continues to cook. Okay, so now that everything is cooked, I'm going to lower my heat because I just want to now meld everything together. So I'm starting off with my brick of cream cheese that I've cut into little squares. I'm just going to drop that in there. And I'm going to start mixing this in. Whoops! Cheese overload or overboard. There one piece of the cream cheese. Anyway, it's stuck on my oven door. That's going to be great. Anyway, so I'm mixing this in. You see how it starts to melt. And then once that gets going, now I'm going to add, boy, I'm making a mess today. Now I'm going to add the Monterey Jack cheese, which was about 1.5 cups. And I'm going to turn my burner down just a little bit more. And I'm just going to get all of this mixed in. And Monterey Jack cheese is a really good melting cheese as well as cream cheese. And again, guys, this is not a recipe that I found anywhere. It's just one that I'm kind of throwing together. I do that a lot. Didn't used to because I didn't know how. So it just kind of took me some time to figure out what things tasted good together, what combinations were good. You can see that it's already almost completely, the cheeses are almost completely incorporated. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to gently chop my roasted broccoli and cauliflower because I don't want it to be mush when I put it in here, but I also wanted to make sure that everything was fully incorporated before I add, because those roasted vegetables are very soft and I want to keep some of their integrity. So I'm going to go chop these up a little bit and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've chopped all of the veggies up. Some of them are still in kind of big chunks so that you can kind of see what we've got going in here. And now I'm just going to very gently fold it all together. Now these veggies, those, you know how you can find those pre-bagged veggies, whether they be organic or non-organic, in the produce aisle, and sometimes if they're not sold quickly enough, they get discounted. Well, if I have time, I will buy them. But what I have to do is I make sure that I come home and I do something with them right away. If I do not, it's a waste of money. Because when when produce starts to turn, it turns quickly. So you have to be ready to do something with it. So here is my filling that I'm going to use. Now, I'm going to check out the flavor, see if I need to add a little more garlic, salt, and pepper, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I went and got my spoon. And the thing I didn't tell you about when I roasted the cauliflower and broccoli. I did it last night, and then once it was all roasted, I took it out of the pan and put it in the refrigerator. But what I did was I just drizzled a little bit of olive oil on it, and then I added just some garlic, salt, and pepper. So it already was also seasoned. So far, I put garlic, salt, and pepper in the meat mixture, and I've roasted the vegetables with garlic, salt, and pepper as well. So I may not need any. Plus, cheese has salt, so let's see. Perfect. So the next step is to stuff. And this is always so much fun. So come with me. Get a little closer over here, if you can see. Now, my peppers are cool, and you can see that they're kind of sweet. And I'm going to just fill inside, and then try to make it look pretty, because these are going to be baked. And so I'm going to put, I like it kind of mounding. Okay, so there's one. I have this one. And you can just gently tear these open. You don't have to use a knife or anything, because they're very pliable. This one. And again, doesn't have, these are kind of messy, but that's okay. Because what I'm going to do is, normally this is a great meal, like all by itself. If you wanted to add some, make it a little heartier, you could add some, get the seeds out of that. That's okay. You could add some rice in here. You could do anything you want. That's the thing that's really cool about these kind of dishes, is that you can create them any way you want. And again, they don't have to look beautiful. They just need to taste good, right? I mean, I like when things do look pretty, but if they don't, I don't stress. As long as I know that the flavor is good, then that's what I care about. That one. And some of these peppers are they're not really cooperating with me, but again, it's okay, because the flavor is so good. And then before I bake them off, I'm going to top them with some more grated cheese. It could be a Mexican blend, it could be more Monterey Jack, it could be like some cotija cheese, any kind of Mexican cheese. You could use cheddar cheese, whatever you want, whatever your favorite cheese is. Now, you're going to see that I have a lot of filling left over. And that was by design, because I kind of doubled my recipe when I added, it looks like a hot mess, but when you put cheese on it and you bake it and the cheese gets all bubbly brown, you're not even going to be able to tell that the pepper didn't close all the way around. What I'm going to do with what's left is I can turn that into like a layered casserole. I could wrap it in tortillas. I could serve it over a bed of Spanish rice. There's all kinds of things I can do with that. So when I am cooking, a lot of times I will decide to make extra so that I have a second meal to go along with it. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do is, before I put these in the oven, is I'm going to just sprinkle a little bit of cheese. Now, I was telling you before that you can put just about any kind of cheese you like on it. This is a queso panela. It is a Mexican cheese, and it's pretty salty. It's a crumbly cheese. So you want, if you don't want to add salt, then this would not be the cheese for you to use. But it's very creamy when it melts. And what I'm going to ultimately do is, once these are roasted off in the oven, I'm going to let them cool completely. 2, I am going to put into the refrigerator, and Bill and I will have this for dinner one night. The other 4, I'm going to freeze. So they are actually like freezer, they're microwave ready meals. So with that, add a green salad, add a side of rice and beans if you'd like. But I can't wait to get these out of the oven. Okay, so now I'm going to check these, and they are probably, oh yeah, they're done. Look how good those look. Oh, that's heavy. Okay, so now look at the crunchiness of the chicken and the pork, and then the white queso panela has melted, and you could still serve that on a bed of rice. You could just serve it on a plate with warmed up with a side salad, but this is a super yummy treat, and I know it because I tasted it already. I tasted the filling.
Finished product. Serve with a green salad and enjoy.